right, here we are, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the very first Yoga with Leif live stream. So first off, just let me know how things are looking and how things are sounding. So if you can hear my voice right now, and then compared to the music and how that is. So it's like if my voice is too loud or the music is too loud or something like that. And if you notice, if I keep looking over to the side here, that's just because I'm looking at my monitor and observing just the cameras and everything, that it's all set up, and the quality of the live stream, that it's still actually live. Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous. Not because I'm so nervous about teaching the class itself, but because I haven't done a live stream in a while. And it's the first time using this setup, and there are so many different things that could go wrong. So yeah, but I've like quadruple checked everything, so hopefully, it should all be okay. Okay, let's just see here. Yeah, everything's looking okay. My monitor is so far away that I actually can't see the comments. So if you guys are writing some comments, I won't be able to read it until afterwards. But still, let me know what you guys think. So yeah, what's going to be going on today? This is a gentle yoga class. Now, we're in a second lockdown here in Norway. And the first time the lockdown happened, I ended up going 3 months without teaching at all. And I felt like that was pretty tough. And I don't want the same thing to happen this time. So now I'm exploring live classes to see how this is. And then we can also open it up to a lot more people can potentially join. Today's class, I'm thinking we're going to start with a pretty gentle warm-up. Some of you who are familiar with my hatha classes at SATS, you're going to be familiar with some of the stuff we're doing today. We're going to do a little bit of flowing in the beginning, and I have a sequence where we're going to be working on strength for shoulders and your back, and a little bit for the core. And then we have some heart openers, some deep stretches, before we finish with a nice little cool down in Shavasana. So we're going to have a nice little rest. We're going to try to stay within the 60-minute mark, so we should all be done here at 12 o'clock. All right, so I'm just going to get the music going here. All right, so come to a comfortable sitting position. What you might want to think here is sitting on a blanket or a block or something to come a little bit higher up. The idea is that if we have our knees at the same height as our hips or a little bit lower, it makes it a little bit easier to sit here and sit a little bit more comfortably. So we can find some length in our spine, going up through the back of our neck. You can imagine you have an energy going out from the top of your head and sending that upwards towards the roof. Our drishti, or our gaze, we can let it fall down in front of us about 1.5 meters or so. And then we can close our eyes. So we're going to spend a few moments here in the beginning of the class just connecting to ourselves, observing. How are you doing today? Do you have any aches and pains or soreness in your body? How is your energy? Do you feel tired? Stressed? Do you feel happy? And we can notice our thoughts here as well. And the idea isn't to really change or alter anything here, but just observe what kind of body, what kind of mind, what kind of feelings are we going to be working with and practicing with today. So no matter where we are, no matter how we're doing, it's okay. We are where we are for a reason, dealing with the things that we're dealing with. So we're just going to try to accept this, how we are, and work with ourselves today, rather than wishing and wanting to be somewhere else and maybe working then against ourselves. No matter how you're breathing here now, you can close your mouth and breathe in and out of your nose. We can start to find these body locks, the Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. So Mula Bandha, if you're not familiar with it, it's the area between your legs. We have just a little activation there. Same as Uddiyana Bandha or the stomach lock. You can think the area just below your navel, you're going to pull that gently in towards your spine. We're not going to grab and hold them really hard and tight. It's just a little activation. We can open up in the back of our throats and start to explore the Ujjayi breathing, so this H, creating this H sound or this whispering sound with our breathing. And if you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, you can think about that now. Your intention could be anything. Maybe just remind yourself of why you came to the mat today, or if there's anything in particular that you want to focus on and work on today. And being kind to yourself, that could be a good intention. So we're going to gently start here with some up and down movements with the head. I think you're nodding yes. Trying to keep the length in the back of the neck here. And you can follow your own tempo, making sure not to go too far and creating any discomfort. And continue with some no movements, so gazing from side to side. And you can absolutely keep your eyes closed here. I find that helps me to keep the focus inwards. Pay attention to what's going on the inside. And then we're going to draw some circles with the head. So just coming down over to the side, back, opposite side and forwards. Again here, following your own breath, taking it in your own tempo. Last round here. And we're going to change sides. And the last breath. Okay, we're going to continue with the shoulders here. So rolling the shoulders first one way. And we can go ahead and change, go the opposite way. All right, so you have some modified eagle arms. We're going to bring the arms up in front of us. We're going to cross the one over and then just give yourself a great big hug here. So we're thinking of spreading the shoulder blades. Maybe you can kind of grab your fingers and walk them a little bit further back. Pulling your shoulders down, sending your elbows away from your body. And then maybe work with some curves here, the top of your spine, maybe twist a little bit, if that feels good. Coming back to sitting, opening up those arms and changing, so opposite arm on the top. Again, give yourself a big hug. And feeling here, what is it that you need and what your body needs in this pose. All right, coming up. Gomukhasana arms, so we're bringing the one arm up. Think of your hand coming down between your shoulder blades. You want to grab the elbow and just give it a little pull here. So we're opening up around the chest and the upper arm. Careful not to push your head down too much here. You want to still stabilize, finding length in the back and your neck. Changing arms. All right, shaking those arms out a little bit. We're gonna do some sitting cat-cow. So from here, you just have your hands however you want them. Think of breathing in, and as if somebody's pulling your heart and your chest up towards the ceiling. And on the next exhale, we're gonna really bring everything in, curve the back, pulling in the stomach and the ribs. Breathing in, opening the heart and chest here. And breathing out, curving the back. Breathing in, opening the heart. Breathing out, opening the back. Coming back up to sitting, we're going to bring our hands behind us. So you can be mindful of how you're using your hands, thinking of pushing the whole hands and your fingers down. You can kind of have your fingers wherever you want to have them here. What we want to focus on is opening up the chest. So maybe bring those shoulder blades together. Keep sending the heart upwards and having a long neck. Last breath here. As we can stay back here with our hands while we stretch our legs out to the side towards Konasana. So the focus here is a stretch in the inside of the thighs, maybe on the back for some of us as well. If you want to, you can totally go ahead and bend those knees if that feels a little bit more comfortable. Maybe you want to come a little bit further up to sitting and push those hips forward. You want to have a bit of an external rotation here, so thinking the knees and the toes pointing up towards the sky. If you want to go a little bit further in this pose, you can bring your hands to the floor, to the mat, and start walking a little bit forwards here. And we're thinking we want to have our belly, then our chest, and then our head coming down to the floor. If you have a block, maybe you want to go ahead and grab the block and place it down. If we get far enough down where we can rest our forehead and release some of the tension and the muscles here in our neck and shoulders. We have 2 breaths to go. And the last breath. Walking our hands back to sitting. Grab the legs, help to bring them in here. Shaking them out, if that feels good. And then just bring your legs, your thighs in towards your chest, and maybe give yourself a little hug here. Maybe even resting your head down on your knees. We're going to move on to a forward fold. I'm just going to turn here so you guys can see. In towards Uttanasana. You can totally go ahead and bend the knees here, but we're still going to have active legs. So knees pointing up, flexing the feet, bringing the toes towards you. Breathing in, finding length in the spine. Maybe we have our arms with us. And on the next exhale, we're going to fold forward. Now here, you might not get that far, but feel free to grab your toes wherever you want to, or maybe your legs, maybe you have your hands here, or maybe you're even sitting a little bit further up here. But however your pose is, what you want to think of doing is creating some length in the spine. And maybe being able to elongate a little bit here on every exhale and come a little bit deeper into the pose. Also relaxing where we can. So we're only using the amount of energy that we need to stay in this pose without over tensing and working too hard. And the last breath. All right, coming up to sitting. We're going to collect those legs one more time, bringing them in. Feel free to keep your feet on the floor here, wrapping the arms around your legs, and give yourself a nice big hug here again. We're going to move on to downward facing dog. So just think the easiest way here to transition for you. Maybe you want to cross the legs and come over, or send the legs out to the side. We're just going to come over and find our downward facing dog. Just got to move my mouth. So just spending some time here opening up the body. If you're wondering roughly about the distance between your
hands in your feet. You can imagine being from a high plank and then just sending your hips up and backwards. About a shoulder width between the hands, pressing the whole hands and fingers down into the mat. You have a little rotation in the arms, so imagining that inside of the elbows or the biceps coming forwards. Maybe we want to walk the legs a little bit here, sending the hips from side to side. Maybe doing some yes and no movements with your head and neck. Maybe some circles with the shoulders. All right, last breath here. And we're going to come forwards with our right hand between our feet, dropping the left knee down towards the mat, finding the stretch in the front of our thigh on the left side here. So we want to try to drop the hips. We have an active leg in the front, so you can imagine pulling your heel towards yourself. And again, finding length in your spine. Five breaths. We're at 3 here. 4. And 5. Hands coming down to the mat, back to downward dog. And we're going to change the feet. Taking as much time as you need to transition. If you feel like maybe I'm going a little bit quick or you need a little bit more time, then totally do it in your own tempo. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Hands back down to the weight, hands back down to the mat. Feel the shift of weight here into your hands as we come back to downward dog. We're going to drop the knees down and come up on all fours. Hands coming below our shoulders. Again, same thing, pushing the hands down, rotation in the arms, the inside of the elbows forwards, making sure we're not overstretching the arms here, but trying to get our joints on top of each other. We're going to roll the shoulders, starting first one way, stabilizing the core, our ribs, active legs, switching sides, opposite way. All right, last round. We're going to move our hands a little bit forwards, coming into upward facing dog. Now a little bit gentle here since it's the first upward dog for today. We're dropping the hips. You want to push the tops of your feet down into the mat. Gently lowering the hips, paying attention to your lower back. There's no pains here. Hands underneath our shoulders, opening up the arms, finding length in the spine and neck. And maybe we're going to take a few breaths here, so maybe you want to explore the pose a little bit, shifting the weight from side to side. Maybe feel a little stretch in the front of your thighs here, your hips. Maybe roll the shoulders a little bit, working out opening your heart and chest. Last 2 breaths. And last breath. We're going to send our hips back towards downward facing dog. And then lowering our knees back down to the mat and coming into child's pose. So this is our resting pose here in this class. So if you, for whatever reason, feel like you need a little break to catch your breath or your thoughts, your feelings, whatever it is, then feel free to come into this pose and stay for as long as you need. Last breath here. Coming back to downward facing dog. And breathing in, gazing forwards. On the exhale, we're going to bend our knees and then walk those feet to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. You can imagine rolling through your feet and spreading the toes for each step that you take. Totally have some space between your feet here, lifting, spreading the toes, pushing them down into the mat. We're just gonna hang here for a few breaths, so totally feel free to do what you feel that your body needs. Maybe you just wanna hang out here, maybe you wanna fold your arms and twist a little bit side to side. Bend and stretch the knees. Play with the weight in your feet, a little bit forwards and backwards. Maybe shake your head. And we're going to come up to Uttanasana, to standing. So here, dropping the arms, bending the knees. Feel that our hips are coming in underneath us. Engaging the stomach, curving the back. Feel the strength in your legs, and you're going to push yourself all the way up to standing. Feeling the grounding down into the mats, up through the top of your head. Finding that energy, or as if somebody has a rope and they're pulling you up towards the sky. Hands down, also lengthening out through the fingers. Taking a couple breaths here for yourself, finding your balance. I'm going to do a couple rounds of Sun Salutation 8. So get ready to breathe in. And breathing in, arms coming up towards the sky. Pressing the hands lightly together. On the next exhale, you're going to fold your hips. Imagine coming the longest or the furthest way down here. Folding over. Breathing in, stretching, finding some length. Gazing down, forwards. On the next exhale, you're going to shift the weight into your hands, walk back to plank. And lowering down to chaturanga. Totally come down on your knees here if you need to. Breathing in, cobra or upward facing dog. And breathing out, sending the hips back, rolling over the toes and finding downward facing dog. 5 breaths. 1. Noticing your hands, your shoulders really pushing away from the floor. Relaxing in the neck, your face. Your gaze or drishti is up past your thighs. We have about a hip width between our feet. Maybe your knees are bent here, that's totally fine. And we're going to work on sending those heels down towards our mat. 4. And 5. Breathing, gaze forwards, breathe out, bending the knees. We're gonna walk or hop forwards to our hands. Breathing in here, finding length. Breathing out, folding over. Breathing up, coming all the way up to standing. Arms out to the side, over our head. Breathing out, bringing them down in front of our chest. One more time, a little bit quicker. Breathing in, arms up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, finding length. Breathing out, coming back, low plank, chaturanga. Breathing in, upward dog. Breathing out, downward dog. 5 breaths. 1. 2, staying in the pose. 3. 4. 5. Breathing in, gazing forwards, breathing out, bending the knees, hop or jump forwards to the hands. Breathing in, finding length. And out, folding over. Breathing in, coming up, active legs, inside of the thighs. Breathing out, hands come down. All right. Sun salutation to downward dog. Breathing in and out. Breathing in, finding length. And out. Jumping back, high plank. Chaturanga. Breathing in, up dog. Breathing out, downward dog. Coming down into hero pose on our knees here, taking a moment. So we're gonna move on to the strength building sequence. Chaturanga push-ups. So a couple of things here. Finding the high plank. Now you can do this down on your knees if you want to. It's totally fine, it's a little bit easier. What I wanna see is straight bodies when we do chaturanga push-ups. I don't wanna see any of these, not that I can actually see you guys, but let's just pretend that I can. I don't wanna see any of these like snake movements, okay? We're working the arms and shoulders here. So we're coming up, finding the plank, rotating the inside of the elbows forwards, engaging the stomach, stabilizing, finding length through the top of your head and your heels. And on the next exhale, we're gonna lower down as far as you can with a straight body, breathing in, coming all the way up. 2 more, breathing out, coming down. Breathing in, coming up. And breathing out. And breathing in. All right, lowering the knees, coming back, shaking out those arms. We're gonna do 1 more round. Okay, you guys ready? Coming up, 3 more. Remember, down on your knees if you feel like you need to, or just stand here. Maybe this is enough. Breathing out, coming down. Breathing in, up. Breathing out. And in. And out. And in. Coming down. Shaking out the arms. Okay, so the next thing is tiger curl, or think of bringing our knee to our nose. Again, we can do this on all fours if you want, still from a plank position. We're gonna be breathing in, lifting up. I'm just demonstrating here now and then we'll do it together. Breathing out, and then you're gonna come in here, curving the back, pulling the stomach in, and think of bringing your knee to your chest. And then I wanna use our neck and head here as well. So think of bringing the neck in and touching your knee to your toes. Your knee to your knee to your nose. All right, coming up, high plank or low plank. Breathing in, right leg up. Gazing a little bit forwards, breathing out, curving the back, weights over the hands the whole time. Breathing in, 2 more, and out. Last one, breathing in, and out. Breathing in, stretch. Lowering the leg, changing the foot. Breathing in, left foot up. Breathing out, curving the back. Breathe in, and out. And in, and out. Breathe in, stretch. Lowering the leg, coming down on the knees. Shaking out those arms. You guys getting warm? Yeah, still going. All right, so the next thing is arms extensions from a high plank. Now to make this a little bit easier, we're gonna spread the feet out to each side of the mat. Makes it a lot easier. When we lift up the one arm, try not to shift your weight too much from side to side. Okay, so coming up on a high plank, we'll do this together. We're gonna lift the right hand up, finding length through the fingers. Breathing out, the hand comes down. Left side, breathing in, coming up. Breathing out, hand comes down. Right side, breathe in, 2 more. Thumb pointing up, keeping that rotation in the arm. Breathing out, come down. Left, breathing in, and out. Last round, right, and down, and left, and out. Coming down with the knees, shaking out those arms. All right, really nice, guys. Feel free to come down here in Child's Pose or Balasana for a little rest. You can maybe even bring your arms along your sides here. Just let the shoulders fall down so we work on opening up a little bit between our shoulder blades. Just take 2 more breaths here for yourself. All right, so coming back up to sitting in hero pose, we're gonna go into Uttanasana or the Camel Pose. So it's a back bend and a heart opener. Coming up on our knees. If this is uncomfortable, get a blanket under your knees. Maybe you wanna fold your mat a little bit to place it under here. It'll be a little bit more comfortable. So we're coming up about a hip distance between our legs. You can be up on the balls of your feet or maybe the tops of your feet. It's totally up to you. But you want to watch here is that our heels aren't going to be pointing inwards or outwards. So totally parallel, working on stabilizing those legs. So our hands are coming back to our lower back, the top of our butt. We're going to find length in our back and spine. Bring the elbows back, making sure we're not pushing our hips forward here. Our hands are just there to help to stabilize. Breathing in, imagine like what we were working on in the warm-up, the heart sending upwards towards the sky. And from here, you can start curving a little bit backwards, constantly thinking upwards, opening up the heart and chest. 5 breaths, 2, 3. Remember the active inside of the thighs, 4. And 5. Breathing out, coming back down out of the pose. So we're gonna do this one more time. When we go up, feel free to do the exact same version that we did, or if you wanna go a little bit deeper, then we're gonna see if we can grab our heels when we go back into the back bend. Okay, getting ourselves ready, coming back up, finding the pose, placing the hands, finding length, opening the heart, breathing in, coming backwards. Maybe we lean a little bit further back, grab our heels, and then we really want to push the hips forwards at the same time as we're sending our heart upwards. This little external rotation in the arms is really opening the chest, the front of the shoulders. 3, 4, and 5. All right, so here you can drop the hips to come down or come up and then back down to hero pose. All right, the next heart opener is puppy pose. We're gonna bring our hands to the front of the mat, thinking of the index finger and the middle finger pointing straight forwards. So we keep this rotation in the arms. Straightening out the arms, sending our hips backwards, and then dropping our chest down towards our mat. So we want to try to have our hips roughly over our knees here. If you're further back, then we're not going to feel so much of an opening in the front of our chest. So the further forward the hands are, or if we keep our hips more up, then we have a little bit further distance here down towards the mat. So maybe your pose is a little bit further up here. That's totally fine. But notice that we're spreading the shoulder blades and bringing the inside elbows forwards. 3, 4, and 5. Coming up, bringing the hands closer to ourselves. We're going to come to a sitting position. So here, the easiest way, if you want to just sit down, send your legs out in front of you. If you want to do a little jump through, you can do that as well. So down to sitting, we're coming into Uttanasana, reverse tabletop. About a hip width between our feet, spreading the toes. When we come up, we want to try to have our knees directly above our heels. Hands coming behind us, spreading the fingers. If this is a little bit too much for your wrists, you can turn your hands out a little bit, but try to do it as much, have your fingers as much forward as you can. But not if it hurts your wrists, of course. Opening the heart and chest, thinking of pushing your hands and feet down, bringing the hips up towards the sky. Long neck, opening the heart and chest, 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3. See if you can bring the hips a little bit further up. 4, and 5. On the next exhale, we're going to lower the hips down. All right. Just taking a moment here. We're going to lie down on our back, come up into Asana or half bridge. So our knees are pointing up, bringing the heels a little bit closer to us, our arms along the side, and our fingers here are just tickling our heels. Now, what you want to do, spread the toes, make sure we have active legs. If you have a block available, maybe you want to have that between your knees or the inside of your thighs. But then notice that, we're not going to be bringing our knees inwards or outwards, but we're totally parallel here. So you might have to adjust your block a little bit accordingly. Breathing in, pushing the feet and the arms down, hips are coming up. If you want to go a little bit further in this pose, you can think of interlacing the fingers, stretching the arms, open up a little bit more in the chest, and then maybe you can bring your hips a little bit further up. 5 counts, 2, 3, 4. Notice that we're breathing in our chest here, not in our stomachs, and 5. The next exhale, releasing the fingers, engaging the stomach, curving the back, and rolling down. All right, maybe you want to grab your legs here, bring them into your body. Roll a little bit side to side, maybe lifting our head if that feels nice.
Now we are going to go up and do the full bridge or Asana once. If you feel like the full bridge is too much for you, or it's a little bit scary, I totally understand that. Then you can just do this Asana one more time. So bring your feet back down to the mat. We start measuring in the same way. So arms along the side. Now if bridge is a little bit difficult for you, you might want to have your legs a little bit further away from your body and maybe a little bit wider as well. But still stabilizing those legs and keeping the same distance between our knees. So when we go up, we're not opening and spreading. Yeah. Okay. Finding the pose. Bring the arms back. Placing the hands down on the mat. Fingers pointing towards your shoulders. Same thing with the arms. You want to stabilize them so we're not letting our elbows fall out to the side here. Now, this does take a little bit of flexibility in your wrists to be able to place your hands here. The further away you are, the easier it is to go up into bridge because the bend isn't so hard, so it's not as heavy, but then it's going to demand even more flexibility in your wrist. So you just got to kind of find the position here of what makes sense for you and in your body. So all I want you guys to do now is think about pushing your hands down and your feet into the mat, and then we're going to start lifting the hips up. Finding a little bit more weight in our hands and feet, maybe lift up to the top of our head, being very careful and gentle with our neck. Last adjustments here. Then we're breathing in. What I want you guys to do is first straighten your arms, and then we start straightening out our knees and sending our chest towards the opposite direction. Relaxing the neck and gazing down towards the mat. 5 breaths. 1, 2, coming down earlier if you need to. 3, 4, and 5. Coming down, first at the top of the head, engaging the stomach, curving the back, and then maybe collect our legs. Oh gosh, it's hard to be in bridge and talk and count at the same time. Here, maybe you want to lift your head as well, rocking the body a little bit back and forth, side to side. All right, a little vinyasa here, back to standing. So rocking back and forth, we're going to come up to sitting, rolling over the legs, finding a low plank, chaturanga, breathing in upward dog. Careful here, watching the lower back, breathing out, downward dog. Breathing in, gaze forwards. Breathing out, bending the knees, hop or jump. Hop or jump, kind of the same thing, hop or walk. Forward to your hands, breathing in, finding length. Breathing out, folding over. And the next inhale, all the way up to standing, hand Tadasana. Breathing out, hands down. All right, very nice guys, how's it going? We're just gonna do one balance here today. So we'll do Virksasana, the tree pose. So standing with our legs together in Tadasana, lift and spread the toes, heels straight behind. Pushing the weight down into our feet. We're gonna move the weight into our left foot. You might wanna find a spot or a point on the floor. Your hands can be in your hips or here in front of your heart. And when you're ready, lifting up the right foot, taking all the time that you need here. Maybe you just have a low leg down in the inside of your calf here or your ankle. Maybe you're actually working down here today, that's totally fine. If you want to, you can come further up with your leg. Maybe you can place it without your hands. Or if you need your hands, you're just gonna grab here and place the sole of your foot against the inside of your thigh. Bringing the knee out towards the side, but noticing that we're not bringing our hip back at the same time. Finding that straight body length coming up. Pressing the toes down into the mat, 5 counts. 1, maybe you wanna raise those arms up. Maybe you wanna open them up. 3, maybe you have a little lift in your heart and your gaze, your drishti as well. And 5. Full control here, bring the hands together, coming out of the pose, changing sides. Actually, I forgot I was gonna do that. When we come to standing poses, I was gonna zoom out. Anyways, coming into the opposite side. So shifting the weight, lifting, spreading the toes. Placing the hands, coming up with the foot.
finding the pose. Maybe stretching the arms, maybe opening up. 2. So both of our legs are active here. We're actually pushing the inside of the thigh against the sole of the foot and the sole of the foot in against the inside of the thigh. 4. And 5. Breathing out, coming up and out of the pose. Shaking out if that feels nice. We're going to do a little vinyasa here to downward facing dog. Coming to the front of our mat and getting ready to breathe in. Breathing in, arms up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathe in, find length. Breathing out, low plank, chaturanga. Elbows in. Breathing in, up dog. And breathing out, downward dog. 3-legged dog to low lunge. So from here, we want to find a solid downward facing dog. And the only thing that's going to change here now is we're lifting up the right leg. So we got to stabilize, or we need to stabilize. Coming up as far as we can, straight legs. Watch out, you're not opening up your hips here. Breathing out, tiger curl, coming forwards, weight over the hands, lifting up. Placing the right foot down between our hands, lowering the left knee, finding length. So we're going to work towards Hanuman Asana, or the splits here. Of course, it's not important at all that you can actually do the full splits, but we're going to be working towards it. So first, just placing the legs, finding the stretch in the front of our thigh here. 3, 4, and 5. So we can start to straighten out the front leg, maybe using the toes and helping to crawl the leg forwards. What I want to do is, focus on stretching the back of the thigh and maybe the calf and the front of the thigh here at the same time. If this is too much, maybe you just want to choose one or the other. Definitely helps to have some blocks or maybe like a stool or something to come a little bit higher up. It helps with the balance and to find the pose and have straight hips. So we want to think of lowering the hips down towards the mat, lengthen the spine, relaxing the legs and hips. We have 10 counts here. 1, 2, 3. A really nice moment here to notice your thoughts. 5. Are you able to find some calm and peace here in this pose, or are you stressing out like crazy and just tensing, being like, oh, when is it over? When is it over? 7, 8, 9. See how much you can relax here now. The last breath, and 10. Sinking a little bit deeper into the pose before coming up and out. So you can just sit down to the side here and swing your legs back, or if you want to, come back the same way that we went up. So pushing down, coming up on the ball of your foot on the back here, lifting yourself up and finding downward dog. I'll give you guys a second here to come into the pose. In the meantime, I can zoom back in a little bit. There we go. I'll have to remember to pay attention to that for the next class. All right, guys. I hope you guys could see like what I was doing in the other things, or if it was like too zoomed in. I don't know. I'll have to watch the playback and see what it's like. Going into the left side, so finding downward dog, lifting up into 3-legged downward facing dog, breathing out, coming forwards, tiger curl. Placing the foot between our hands, lowering the knee, finding that stretch. It's the same pose that we were working on in the warm-up. 2, 3. Making sure our bandhas, our locks are on, especially Udana bandha here. It's quite important for this stretch. 4, and 5. All right, bringing that forward leg out towards Hanuman Asana. Making sure to keep those hips parallel, meaning dropping the hips, the tailbone straight down towards the floor and not opening up your hips here. Because then we're going to be doing more the inside of the thigh. But what I want here is parallel legs and the back of the thigh and the front of the thigh. All right, 10 counts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe a nice moment here to remind yourself of your intention today for today's class. 7, 8, 9. You can sink a little bit deeper. And 10. All right, coming out of the pose, hands down, lifting up, or sitting down, sending the legs back. So we're gonna go into pigeon pose here, but first coming up into three-legged down dog. One more time, Konasana. Breathing in, finding length, breathing out, tiger curl, coming forwards, dropping the knee and the leg down to the mat, and then letting our tailbone, the hips come downwards, finding length out through the back leg. Now, depending on how much you bend the front knee here, you're gonna feel it in the inside of your hip. And as well, try not to open up our hips here. So maybe we stay here, working on finding length in our spine. Maybe we wanna walk the hands a little bit further forwards and coming over our front leg. Maybe we're resting the hands, or resting our head on our hands, or maybe on some fists. Or maybe you're further up here. Paying attention we don't have any pain in our knees at all. And if you do, maybe what you want to do is go into a modification of this pose. So bend both knees and then we just work the body over from there. Okay, one last breath. If you're down, you can start walking the hands back. So here, full awareness into our body and our hands, coming up on the ball of our foot, on the back leg, lifting up into plank, reverse tiger curl, and downward dog. We're going to change sides. So breathing in, left foot up, breathing out, coming forwards, placing the leg, and finding the pose. One. 2. 3. 4. 5. Walking the hands back. And since we're getting close to the end of the class, you might want to think of starting to move a little bit more slowly in the poses, really spending our time. So we're preparing ourselves already now for the rest, for Shavasana. Okay, coming up, back into downward dog. We're going to come down to a lying position. So breathing in, gazing forwards past our hands. Breathe out, bend the knees. Walk or hop into our hands, crossing the legs. And then just come to sitting. Maybe adjust yourself so you have a mat under your whole back. And then coming down. From here we're going to go into a lying Konasana, a lying down Konasana or butterfly. So bringing the soles of our feet together, heels, you can choose where you have your heels, where it sort of feels right for you. And then we're going to try to drop the knees down to the side. So the focus here is the inside of the thighs. Maybe you want to have your hands on your legs as an extra weight to bring the knees closer to the floor. Or you can have your hands above your head here and kind of like cactus arms. So we get a little opening in the heart and chest area as well. 5 breaths. 1,
2, 3, 4, and 5. We can use our hands to help collect our legs, so we don't need to activate the inside of the thighs right after we've been stretching them. Maybe shake the legs a little bit if that feels good. So our feet are on the mat, the knees are pointing up. We're going to go into a very gentle spinal twist here. Just dropping the knees down to the left side. And then stretching out the right arm from our shoulder, maybe turning our head to finish the twist, going through our spine, through our neck, and gazing over the right side. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the pose here, you can imagine collecting the legs, maybe bringing the inside of the thighs together. And even further into the pose here would be bringing the knees together. But we want to try to keep both our shoulder blades down onto the mat. 3. Staying here for 2 more breaths. 4. I'm just going to adjust the music. And 5. So here we can use our left hand to help to bring our knees back up to lying and then slowly coming over into the opposite side. 1. 2. 3. 4. And 5. So you're taking all the time that you need, bringing the legs up. Maybe we're using our right hand to help as well. And then we're going to get ready for Shavasana and for resting. So if you have any extra warm clothes or a blanket, maybe you want to find that now to put over us. Basically the pose, if you're not familiar with Shavasana, is just lying down on a mat. I would rather that we don't have anything under our back or our head. We just want to come to lying flat on our mats, but have a little bit of space between our legs, letting the knees and the feet just drop out to each side. Our arms are just a little bit out from the body where they can relax, palms facing upwards. We're going to go ahead and close our eyes. We're going to have 5 minutes here for Shavasana. So in this pose, we can let go of the internal locks. We can let go of Ujjayi breath. And you can just allow your body to breathe exactly what it needs and wants to here. Notice all the areas of the body that are meeting the mat. Noticing the weight in our body. And maybe you can even feel the energy inside of yourself. We can imagine here for every exhale, releasing any tensions in the body, releasing the weight down into all these areas that are meeting a mat. We're breathing in new, good, positive energy. And breathing out and letting go. In and breathing out and letting go. You notice here that your mind being pulled in any direction. And maybe that's a direction worth letting yourself go to. Okay, yogis, we can start to come back from where we are. Coming back to your body, and back to your breath. Move our hands and feet. Maybe stretch your arms over your head, finding a length in the body. Maybe take a few deep breaths here. We can collect the legs. Give ourselves a great big hug. Maybe rocking gently from side to side. Maybe you want to lift your head here as well. You can always grab the back of your head so you don't need to hold it up with your neck. And in your own tempo, when you're ready, roll over onto your right side.
from here, thinking the easiest way for you to come up to sitting. Spending as much time as you need. So we're going to find a comfortable sitting position. Lengthen our spine, neck. Bring our hands together in front of our chest. Relaxing our face, our shoulders. Moving our awareness inwards. Noticing how we feel. Notice your thoughts. Noticing the energy inside of you. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Namaste. All right. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, comments, or send me an email, something like that. If you like this class and you want to continue maybe taking some classes with me, then you can join my mailing list. So as well, just comment somewhere, send me your email, and I'll put you on the list. And then it's an easier way for me, I think, to notify everybody about when I'm going to have classes. Yeah, okay, that was it. Thank you guys so much for today. Peace, namaste, and have a fantastic day.